গোপীজন বল্লভ গিরিবরধারী গোপীজন বল্লভ গিরিবরধারী যশোদানন্দন ব্রজজন রঞ্জন যশোদানন্দন ব্রজজন রঞ্জন যমুনা তীর বনচারী যমুনা তীর বনচারী জয় রাধা মাধব পুণ্য বিহারী জয় রাধা মাধব পুণ্য বিহারী হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে হরে গিরিধারী চিরাধে জয় জগন্নাথ জয় জগন্নাথ জয় বলদেব জয় সুভদ্রা জয় গৌরনিতাই জয় গৌরনিতাই জয় জয় প্রভুপাদ জয় জয় প্রভুপাদ জয় জয় গুরুদেব জয় জয় গুরুদেব জয় গৌর হরি বল হরি বল জয় গৌর হরি বল। So I'm reading from Lilamrita, from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. In March 1952, Abhay published another issue of Back to Godhead. It was dedicated mostly to a biographical article Abhay had written about Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati and his father, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. He, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, vehemently protested against the principles of those pseudo-transcendentalists who passed in the name of Lord Chaitanya. He initiated the reformatory movement by the literary contributions while he still engaged as a high government officer. During his householder life and serving as a magistrate, he wrote books on various descriptions in Bengali, English, Sanskrit, and etc. to present an actual picture of pure devotional activities to Lord Chaitanya. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj had inspiration from his very childhood all about Srila Thakur Bhakti Vinod's movement. He worked as the private secretary of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and as such, Bhakti Vinod Thakur gave him, Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur, the transcendental power of attorney to espouse the cause of Lord Chaitanya. And so after Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur's departure, Srila Saraswati Thakur took up reins of the reformatory movement. Absorbed in producing his monthly journal, Abhay went about his other activities only superfluous, sometimes superficially. Sometimes he traveled on business or taking the night train from Allahabad to Calcutta, visited his family. When his compartment was not crowded, he would turn on a light while others slept. Riding a night train provided a good opportunity to think or even write. Sometimes he would sleep for a few hours and then sit up again and look out the window to see only night and the reflected lights of the train compartment shining back at him, the windows reflecting his face. Halfway through the 12-hour journey, the sky would lighten, turning from gray to light blue, and the first white clouds would appear in the sky. He could see lights in the towns and hear the train's horn whirling. When the train showed and stopped at a station, tea vendors would walk alongside the train windows yelling, "Chai, chai, chai." Their loud sing-song didn't filling the ears with chai and chai filling the air with its aroma as hundreds of passengers sipped their morning tea. During, the, During his more than 20 years of extensive train travel, Abhay had noticed more and more people smoking cigarettes, more and more women traveling alone. India was becoming westernized, and the national leaders were paving the way, the blind leading the blind. They wanted the kingdom of God without God. They wanted a progressive industrialized India without Krishna. From the windows, he could see large fields being left uncultivated, and yet the people were hungry. A boy would sometimes read a newspaper and cut out the article that seemed to warrant a reply in the Back to Godhead or that sparked an idea for an essay. He would deliberate over how to approach people for assistance, whom to approach, and how to start a society of Krishna conscious devotees. People, not only in India, but all over the world, would take to Krishna consciousness. The Chaitanya Bhagavat had predicted that the name of Chaitanya would one day be known in every town and village. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta had wanted that. He had sent preachers to England, but they had only gained a protocol visit with their royalty, stood in line, bowed before the crown, and then come back to India without effecting any change in the Western people. A boy thought about sending back to Godhead abroad. His agent Thacker, Spink and Company had contacts in America and Europe. People read English all over the world, and some of them would surely appreciate the ideas from Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. This was what Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati wanted. Krishna consciousness was not for India. It was India's greatest gift, and it was for everyone. Hare Krishna. Stopping here. I'm stopping this, sharing the screen and going to. So we'll read from. Today we'll read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 21, and verse 8. And the heading of this chapter is instruction. The heading of the kind of instruction by Manu Maharaj, instruction Prithu Maharaj, and creation, and from chapter 20, verse 20, chapter 21, verse 8 and 9. So what is that? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirve Srinatam Shakata Krishna Punna Savana Kirtanam Hridiyantasto hi abhadrami Vidonoti Shurit Shatam Nashto Praesha Vadreshu Nittam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Naistiki. Hare Krishna. So, Canto 4, chapter 21 and verse 8. Shuta Uvacha Tadadirajasya Yasho Vizimritam Gunoirashoir Gunavat Savajitam Kshatta Mahabhagavataha Sadatpate Kosharovim Praha Vrinantamarchan Shuta Uvacha Tadadirajasya Yasho Vizimritam Gunoirashoir Gunavat Savajitam Kshatta Mahabhagavato Sadashpate Kosharavim Praha Vrinantamarchan Shuta Uvacha Tadadirajasya Yasho Vizrimvitam Gunoirashoir Gunavat Savajitam Shatta Mahabhagavataha Sadatpate Kosharavim Praha Vrinantamarchan. So if anybody wants to chant.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandot Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandot Pranam.
Shruta Uvacha Dadadi Rajasya Yasho Vrijam Vitam Gunoi Rasheshir Gunavat Shavajitam Shatta Maha Bhagavata Sadashpati Kosharavim Praha Granantam Archayan. Hare Krishna.
Anybody else?
Hare Krishna. Shuto Uvacha Tadadi Rajasya Yasho Vijrimbitam Gunairasheshoir Gunavat Shavajitam Shatta Mahabhagavata Sadashpate Kosharavim Praho Grinantam Archayan. Hare Krishna.
Anybody else want to decide?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I am trying as well.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please.
Sutta Uvacha Tadadi Rajasya Yasho Vijrimbhitam Gune Rasheshairi Gunavat Sabhajitam Shatta Mahabhagavato Sadaspate Kausharavim Praha Grinantam Archayan. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So can anyone please, anyone, is there anyone else to read? Then can someone please read out the synonyms, please?
I'll try, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Synonyms by Srila Prabhupada. Sutta Uvacha. Sutta Goswami said that Adi Rajasya of the original king, Yasha, reputation, vision, unlimited, Gunavat, fittingly, Sabhajitam, being praised, Shatta, Vidura, Maha Bhagavata, the great saintly devotee, Sada, its sages, Kausha Pravim, unto Maitreya, Praha said, Granantam, while talking, Archayan, offering all respectful obeisances. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji, can you please also read the translation as well?
Yeah, I'll read. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Sutta Goswami continued, O Shaunaka, leader of the great sages, after hearing Maitreya speak about the various activities of King Prithu, the original king, who was fully called Vidura, the great devotee, very submissively worshipped Maitreya Rishi and asked him the following question.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So we're going to the next. It has no purport. So we're going to the next verse. Vidura uvacha sho vijikta prithur viproir labdha shesha surarhanaha vibhratsha vaishnavam tejo vaihori yabhyam dudoho gam. Vidura uvacha sho vijikta prithur viproir labdha shesha surarhanaha vibhratsha vaishnavam tejo vaihori yabhyam dudoho gam. Vidura uvacha sho abhishikta prithur viproir labdha shesha surarhanaha vibhratsha vaishnavam tejo Vaihoryabhyam dudoho gam. So anybody wants to recite, please?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Viduruvacha Savishakta Prabhu. Pritur Viproy Labda Shesha Surarana Vibratsha Vaishnavam Tejo Bahoryapyam Dudahogam. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Boo. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll go.
I'll try.
Viduro uvacha shobhishikta prithurbhiproit labda shesha shurarhana bibhratsha vaishnavam tejo vayhoryabhyam dudohogam. Hare Krishna.
And anyone else, please?
Vidura uvacha Saubhishikta prithurviproit labdha shesha surarhanaha vibrat sa vaishnavam tejo bahoryabhyam dudhogam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, anyone, anybody else wants to recite, please? So can anyone please read out the synonyms, please?
Yes, Prabhu, I can go
Thank you,
ahead.
Mataji.
Yeah. Synonyms. Vidura uvacha, Vidura said, Sa, he, King Prithu, Abhishaktaha, when enthroned, Prithu, King Prithu, Viproi, by the great sages and Brahmanas, Labdha, achieved, Asesa, innumerable, Sura Arhanaha, presentations by the demigods, Vibhrat, expanding, Shah, he, Vaishnavam, who has received through Lord Vishnu, Tejaha, strength, Vaibhava, arms, Yabham, by which Dudhaha, exploited, Gam, the earth. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Good. So can anyone please read out the translation, please?
I'll try, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Vidura said, My dear Brahmana Maitreya, it is very enlightening to understand that King Prithu was enthroned by the great sages and Brahmanas. All the demigods presented him with innumerable gifts, and he also expanded his influence upon personally receiving strength from Lord Vishnu. Thus, he greatly developed the earth. Thank you, Prabhu.
Can anyone please read out the PowerPoint as well?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please continue.
Hare Krishna. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Because Prithu Maharaj was an empowered incarnation of Lord Vishnu and was naturally a great Vaishnava devotee of the Lord, all the demigods were pleased with him and presented different gifts to help him in exercising his royal power, and great sages and saintly persons also joined in his coronation. Thus blessed by them, he ruled over the earth and exploited its resources for the greatest satisfaction of the people in general. This has already been explained in previous chapters regarding the activities of King Prithu. As will be apparent from next verse, every executive head of the state should follow in footsteps of Maharaj Prithu in ruling over his kingdom. Regardless of whether the chief executive is a king or president, or whether the government is monarchical or democratic, this process is so perfect that if it is followed, everyone will become happy, and thus it will be easy for all to execute devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So, yeah. I'm sharing, stopping the screen. So I'm trying to, so can the people see my screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Oh, so I'm just trying to disconnect, stop sharing. Okay. So Narayanam, sorry, wait, do that. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namo Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Shayam Rupa Padamayam Dadati Padantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavancha Sri Rupam Shagrajatam Shavana Lalita Shavana Raghunathan Nitam Tam Sajivam Shaddaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahita Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Shavan Lalita Sri Vishakamitam Sya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishavan Shrute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye
Don't know Chinese guy.
Mancha kalpatarubhyasya kripasindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namo Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Prabhupadanugami Sri Shubhakashamine Shoda Danya Shri Shubhagaya Sarvajiva Pripabdve Guru Shiksha Sadachara Phalopaya Namastute Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauruvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschaktabeshu Tarine Namo Mahabodhanaya Krishna Premo Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurotishe Namo Mukam Karoti Ivachalam Tungom Langhayate Girim Yaktipatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Sri Guru Dina Taranam Hare Krishna. So we are discussing about Prithu Maharaj and particularly in this instruction by Prithu Maharaj. So Maharaj, in this chapter, before we start about Prithu's Maharaj, some background story, background of this story. The king of prior to Prithu Maharaj, King Venu was the king of the whole universe, or whole earth, but he was not a good king. Not only a good king, he was misusing his authority, and so the Brahmanas cursed him, and so Brahmanas cursed him, and and after his death, from the churning of his body, the Prithu Maharaj appeared, and once he appeared, the people started the Brahmanas made him the king, and he was praised by the professional reciters. But King Prithu was so humble that he told that I have not done anything as yet. So why you are reciting? But this is the quality of a Vaishnava, that he never takes pride of what he is doing and his qualities. He knows that everything comes from the Lord. Whatever qualities we have, even our body and everything, is because of the part and parcel of the Lord. So we should not be proud of our own qualities, because it is only provided by the Lord. And whenever he takes away, everything is gone. So, and these are all temporary things. And the Vaishnava has the proper knowledge, so he knows that the qualities and everything has come from the Lord, and it should be utilized for the service of the Lord. So Prithu Maharaj knows it, and we'll see from his life that how he did it. And next when he became the king, or he was enthroned as a king of the whole earth, Maharaj Prithu had to take responsibility of his citizens, and while doing so, he found that the Mother Earth was not supplying enough food for his citizens, and he became angry with them. And he subsequently, the Mother Earth was convinced to give produce the proper all her resources for the service of the citizens. And Maharaj Prithu was thus happy that the resources were utilized for the service of his citizens. As a king, was his responsibility. So he has ensured that all his citizens, irrespective of their status of life, they were all happy. It was the king's duty, and he has ensured it that all the citizens were happy. And when it was done, I mean, when he has done that, then he wanted to perform Ashwamedha Yajna. Ashwamedha Yajna, and it was stopped. We know that it was stopped because Indra took away the horse, and in a couple of times, and it was taken back by his son. But again, there was some problem at that time, and Lord Brahma came, and he told Prithu Maharaj to stop sacrifice, and because Indra was afraid that his position will be, his position is being threatened, so he was afraid, and when Brahma interfered and advised Prithu Maharaj to stop the Ashwamedha Yajna, he at once accepted it. That is the good quality of a Kshatriya king. He knows what advice is given by, when it comes from authorities, one has to obey it without any objection, or because it has come from a higher authority and it has got a purpose. And Lord Brahma also told him the purpose of Ashwamedha Yajna was not the Prithvi is already a avatar of the Lord, so he has not to achieve anything by performing the Ashwamedha Yajna. He was doing it for his citizens. But when he stopped it at the advice of Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu appeared, because by doing Ashwamedha Yajna, everyone tries to satisfy the Lord. And because in 529 it is clearly stated, Bhoktaram Yajnatosham Sarvaloka Maheswaram Surida Sarvabhutanam Gettamam Shantim Richadu. That means the purpose, the Lord is the enjoyer of all yajnas. And when the Lord is satisfied, here we find that when Prithu Maharaj stopped the Ashwamedha Yajna, under the Yajna, the Lord Vishnu came personally. So what happens? What happened here is that he abided by Brahma's instruction, and Lord Vishnu came on the arena. It never happens to any. Nobody ever has seen the Vishnu coming himself. And the purpose of a yajna is to satisfy Vishnu, and here Vishnu has himself come. So you see, Prithu Maharaj has achieved something which no one has earlier achieved. So because he was, and by his example, he's teaching us how an ideal king should act. In this chapter, we'll discuss today the Prithu Maharaj is a great king, and by his example, he is showing us what would be the behavior of an ideal king. And in this context, we'll discuss some of the other Rajarshi kings who have also, by their example, has exemplified us the activities, what should be the activities of a king. And so, as I have just told, that Prithu Maharaj was an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he is a Shakta Vesha avatar. Shaktavesh avatar means when the Lord comes in this material world to teach us, Lord expands himself sometimes with the power of his opulence. And this is called Shakshat avatar. But when he empowers a living entity with some particular Shakti or power for some specific activity to represent him, the living entity is called indirect or Avesh avatar or Avesh incarnation. And Prithu Maharaj was like that. And Avesh, example of Avesh avatar, we can say the four Kumars, they were empowered with knowledge. And similarly, Narad Muni was empowered with devotional service. The Brahma was empowered with creative power. And Parshuram was empowered with the power to kill evil elements. And Vedavyas was empowered to write the Vedas. And similarly, King Prithu was empowered with the power to maintain the living beings. So, and the next type, as I have told, different from Srimad Bhagavatam and also from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, will mention about the qualities of a king, which makes him great. As you know, in the Varnashrama Dharma, the Kshatriya is the second order. The first, in the social order, the first is Brahmanas, and in the second order of that is Kshatriya. And Kshatriya has got 7 qualities. And in Bhagavad Gita 1843, it is clearly mentioned the quality of a Kshatriya. It is there. There are 7 qualities: Shauryam, Tejo, Dhriti, Daksha, Yudhe, Japi, Apalayanam, Dano, Mishra, Bhavascha, Khatram, Karma, Shabhavascha. It is telling that the Kshatriya has a natural tendency of becoming, he is a Shaurya. He shows his power or strength, and by this power, he wants to protect his citizens. And so the power, and he is never afraid to fight for the right cause. And in this way, he tries to protect the society. In fact, the word Kshatriya has come from the word Kshato, means injury, and Trayate, one who protects. Trayat, who doesn't allow the god to be created, he is called Kshatriya. So king and all the kings are empowered, have the natural qualities to quality to protect the citizens. And this is the Varnashrama Dharma that is created by the Supreme Lord. And sometimes nowadays there is, and the king is considered as the representative of the Supreme Lord. And in this way, he tries to, and when a king considers himself as a representative of the Lord, he does not enjoy the facilities he has received from because of his being a head of the state. He has so much resources in his possession. He never enjoys it for his own personal enjoyment, but uses for the happiness of his citizens. And he often takes responsibility. He has to, for that, sometimes he has to enter into war with other people when from outside, when the forces of disruption come from outside. And when it is from within, he also protects the citizen from the rogues and other social, who interrupts the social system and creates problem for the society. So in this regard, we'll tell some of the qualities of king in the recent times, and also those from the past, so that we can understand what is the what are the qualities the king should possess and how he should utilize these qualities for the welfare of the citizens. Because the purpose of human life is, as we all often the devotees know it, but the non-devotees often do not know. They are often struck by the short-sightedness of the goal, about the goal of human life. In Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 2 particularly, the two things have been very clearly stated, that those who are attracted by the flowery language of the Vedas, they think that in this material life is only for sense enjoyment, and they perform karmakanda activities and sometimes engage in the worship of the demigods, to thinking that by pleasing them, they will go to higher planets and enjoy more happiness in the Swargaloko. And because there are more opportunities than this material life. So they engage themselves for those sort of service, those sort of activities. And sometimes it is clearly seen in the society also that they lost the purpose, to understand the purpose of this human life. Human life has got, unlike other 8.4 million species of life, including the demigods, the human life is a special gift from the Lord. This gift of the Lord is here given, this body is given for not only for our spiritual advancement, because in this life only one can attain, one can understand what his relation, what he is. That means he can understand he is not a body, but his soul, and he also understands the relationship, and one has to understand also his relationship with the Supreme Lord. So in this way, when we understand we are not this body and we are related to the Supreme Lord, and what is our position, we can understand what is our actual responsibilities or duty, or parodharma. Parodharma means what is our ultimate religion or ultimate religious activities. And their activity is that we should serve the Supreme Lord, and in this way we can go back to his abode. But most of the people think that in this material life we will indulge in activities which will give us happiness, and for this reason they take the karmakanda activities, and in this way tries to find happiness. But what happens to in Bhagavad Gita 4:17 is clearly stated that karmano hi api bodhyam bhamcha vikarmanoh akarmanascha bodhyam kahana karmano goti. So it is, if one is serious about liberation from material bondage, he has to be careful about this teaching. He has to understand what is karma, what is vikarma, and what is akarma. The three things. Karma means when we do, karma means here, according to Varnashram Dharma, what is our prescribed duty. If we do that, if we do it for good purpose, then we can at best be elevated to a higher planet. But this higher, when we go to a higher planet, and when the results of that activity is finished, we have to come back again to this material world. So even though we have done good activities as per our Varnashram Dharma, and if we do not connect with the Supreme Lord, we will come back again to this cycle of birth and death again. And vikarma means one which is forbidden in the scriptures. If we do that, we have the results, we have to go to lower planets and suffer for that consequence. But in both the cases, whether we do good activities according to our social order, or we do vikarma. Vikarma is which is forbidden act. We have to suffer for that. But even if we do good work, or which is being referred as karmano here it is being told about good activities. But in that case, you can only go to higher planets. And after the end of this of the period of our good, we have to come back again, because it is in Bhagavad Gita, I think 9:21 is clearly written te tang bhukta sargoloko vishadam khine punne martalokam vishanti evam troi dharma manuprapanna vatagatam kama kama lavanti. When they have enjoyed the first heavenly sense pleasure and the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they return to the mortal planet again. Thus, those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principles of three Vedas achieve only repeated births and deaths. And that's why the Lord Sri Krishna in Arjuna was also told in 245 that Trigunna Vishaya Vedo Nistriguna Bhavarjuna Niddando Nitya Shuktasto Kshematnuvan. That means this, whenever one has to rise above the three modes of material nature. Because in this material nature, if we remain in the three modes, we will have repeated births and deaths. So the goal of life is not to remain in this and doing so-called pious activity here. This will only bind ourselves to the repeated birth and death. And the goal of human life is to go transcend these three modes of material nature. And how one can do that? It is told in 1426, Mam cho yo bibicharana bhakti yogena shivati shagunan samiti taitan brahma bhaya kalpati. Only one who is connected, who is without any deviation serves the Lord, he attains the Brahma Bhava. That he becomes a Brahma Bhava, or he can go to the planet of the Lord, or from where there is no return. In Bhagavad Gita 8.15 is clearly written, Mamapit punarjanma dukkhalaya masashyatam no apnuvanti mahatmana samshetthi paramangota. Means after attaining me, the great soul who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of misery, because it is this material world, although is temporary, and whatever we do, even as I have told, that if we do good activities, again we have to go to higher planets and to come back again. But if we go to the supreme abode of the Lord, we never come back. And from the 816 it is Abrahma Bhuvanaloko Punaravartanu Jino Mamupetto to Kaunteo Punarjanmana Bhikute. That is from that all these planets are also temporary, and at the end of the when there is dissolution, everything will go, and all the material activities, whatever we do, normally it goes away when we die. But the transcendental service or the devotional service we do for the Lord, it is never destroyed, and it is it is mentioned in Nehavikramanashasti 240. It is there that Nehavikramanashasti prattavayo no vidyate shalpamopi yosha dharmasya trayate mahatapad. But transcendental service we do, it is never destroyed like material activities. And material activity has got, we have to, it binds us, whether with a good result or with a bad result. And in this way, we remain in the circle of birth, repeated birth and death. But when we do devotional service, it has no diminution, and it is never destroyed us. There is no diminution and no destruction. So that is eternal. So we should concentrate our goal or the activities of in this human life for that. And Lord Krishna has clearly stated that goal where we go will have no return from there. No tad bhashayate shurjo no shashanko no pagoka yadgatta no nivardante padhama paramam. That supreme abode of mind is not illuminated by sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach is never returned to this material world. And so we should remember that is the goal of human life. And the king's duty as a ruler is to ensure that his citizens are not stuck by the temporary goals of human life. Although he takes care of all his citizens, he also imbibes upon them the importance of transcendental devotional service, and such a devotional without devotional service, the goal of human life is unfulfilled or frustrated, and the king knows it. They are called Rajorshi, or the Rishi kings, and Prithu Maharaj was one of such kings. And also in Mahabharata mentioned Yudhishthir Maharaj was a similar king, and when the battle of Mahabharata was fought, ended, there is so much loss of life, and so much people have lost their own relatives and all that. There's so much destruction. When Yudhishthir Maharaj was told to become the king, he became disillusioned. He told, "Why should I accept such as for me? When he was told to accept the kingdom, he was so shocked to think that he was responsible for all that has happened. But that is the quality of the devotee. He thinks that he is never interested for the kingdom, and that's why he was thinking, when he was told to accept the kingdom, he told that all this has happened. That means all this has happened because of me, just to make me the king of the, just make me the king. So many relatives have been lost, so many kings have been lost, and so he was not interested to take it. That means he was unattached to it, and that is another quality of a good king, that he is, although with all his opulences, he is never attached to these things. He knows that all these resources belongs to the Lord, the Supreme Lord, and it is to be utilized for the service of the Lord. And in doing so, he ensures that all his citizens has not only the basic needs of animal life, in other words, food and other things that everybody has. One has also all these particularly the human citizens have the responsibility to become God conscious. And in this way, King Prithu is an ideal king. In a similar way, Yudhishthir Maharaj, as I told, is also a similar good example of a devotee who has ensured that all his citizens become God conscious, and in this way, peace and happiness, permanent peace and happiness of their life, and what they achieve in this life, they not only achieve in this life, what is their goal in the next life, he prepares for them for that. And in this way, he gives a right direction to all his citizens. He ensures all his citizens have the proper goal of life, not only fixed, but they pursue it so that they can go back to their Godhead. And that is what the king does. I will just conclude it before telling one short. In the recent king is the king of Puri, the king of Puri, and he was very much, he was interested to see. He knew that the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was staying in Puri, King Pratap Rudra was very much keen to see him because he was God conscious, and he wanted to see. When he came to know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is no one but the Lord himself, then he wanted to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in the sannyas order of life, so he was not interested to see him, King Prataparudra. Then Prataparudra, when tried to meet him, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told, "I will leave Puri in that case. So I don't like to see Vishnu, because sannyasi has no business with the king." But Prataparudra was so determined that, and by following the order of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he knew that, he came to know that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya told him that when the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will, in the Ratha Jatra festival comes, which is coming in a couple of days, so you will see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be before, will be daily, dancing before the Ratha Yatra. So you take advantage of that. And in this way, when after the Ratha Yatra was over, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was taking rest in the garden, and when King Pratapadra went there, and he was singing the Tava Kathamritam, that verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so pleased at that, because he thought that he is a devotee of the Lord, so he met him. So in this way, both Prataparudra's desire to see the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was fulfilled, but he was able to fulfill it because he had the mercy of the other Vaishnavas, and Lord was pleased. So in this way, a king has to not only be a good ruler by his qualities to protect the materially all his citizens, he should be God conscious at the same time, so that he knows the ultimate goal of life, and in this way he can ensure the happiness, the real happiness for all his citizens. And without the Krishna or the God's blessing, no happiness can really come to an individual or to a state. So the king knows it. And even in the life of Prabhupada is also told at one time that those of us who are in the movement have a responsibility. Like just as king is in one sense, he is not he is the supreme in his kingdom. In a similar way, when all of us, we are in the movement, the Krishna conscious movement is a benediction to the human society in this godless society of now. And unless people become God conscious, there is no hope for happiness and happiness for the humanity. And the people are now fighting one another for very petty reason, because Krishna is not in the center of their activities. They are, each one of us are interested, or are interested to enjoy their own sense enjoyment, and to free them from this illusion. Krishna consciousness is the only hope. And in this case, see, Srila Prabhupada has told each one of us has to become independent like a king, and find out what is our responsibilities and have to pursue it in such a way that whatever problem comes in, we can overcome it. And in this way, the movement of Krishna consciousness can be spread. And because because the kings or the administrators of the state nowadays are no more interested about God. So we have to, those who are the devotees, have a more responsibility, and we have to, in the movement, it's a preaching movement, so we have to preach it. And whatever problem comes in on the way, we have to think over that and overcome it. In this way, we can bring happiness to the society, and in the long run to the whole humanity. And with that, I'm concluding. If anybody has any opinions and point out what is the any comments on that, please make, so that
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Class in the very winter days. Yeah, it's very, very nice class. You have mentioned the very good qualities of Prithu Maharaj, which we can't understand if we read it, but when you hear from the devotees, they emphasize the qualities so nicely to understand the greatness of such a great devotee. And you have given so many of examples through Shastras that indicates that Prithu Maharaj is the real notion of the good follower of the Shastra. And he was blessed by Lord Vishnu himself when he arrived personally over there. He could see the real nature of King Prithu is not an ordinary thing. Is so superfluous and so advanced. He was very, very much happy that Prithu Maharaj is following all the rules and regulations as per Shastra. So he was very, very much happy, and he could see the future through him, how he is maintaining his whole kingdom through his qualities. And you have enlightened all the qualities through Bhagavad Gita, so many examples. And also mentioned how Yudhishthira Maharaj was an example that shows us the real nature or real king. And other things of Pratap Rudra. So that example also shows you need to be very, very advanced in such a position that God is able to accept you. It is not that I just approach the Lord and Lord will accept. No, you need have to show your qualities through your activities and words. Then only you can become elevated or come to a position to be greeted by the Lord. And you can see from Srila Prabhupada activities, such a great devotee of the Lord. And he has given us such a good instrument to use so that we can eventually help the nation throughout the world by following his very simple instruction in 100% devotion, so that we be in the movement, can be a part of welfare activities through Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for the nice bringing up. So anybody else wants to share his opinion and ideas?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank
Please
you.
continue.
Thank you. Examples. So it was really nice learning class. Prabhu, I had one question. You
Surely.
mentioned that Krishna is not in the center of society at the moment. But sometimes we see even among devotees, Krishna is in the center of all our lives. But sometimes there is still some conflict. Why would that be, Prabhu? Just wanted to understand your opinion and some thoughts. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. So there was some cutting out of your words, Mataji. Just I'm rephrasing. So you want to say that even within the devotees, sometimes there is conflict. Is it what you were talking about? Or?
That's right. Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
So, Mataji, in this regard, I can refer to Prabhupada's own advice to. Sometimes he has told once that that the Krishna conscious movement, people at various stages of life has come. So all of them are not in the same level. So, and also because it has come, the society at the moment is godless. And I mean, outside I'm talking about non-devotees. So people from various sections of the society have joined. So all of them are not in the same level. So that is one of the reasons why. So Prabhupada has one time told this specifically, that we should not be under the illusion that whoever has come to Krishna consciousness is an ideal person. But he is trying, the process is a purifying. So the people who has come at different stages are in the process of purification. So because they have come from a background and still their baggage is, some baggage in one sense, you can say the materialistic approach is always there, and we cannot get rid of it. I mean, at this stage, this is what is there, but we have to continue, we have to bring them, we have to utilize their services in such a way that to the best of their ability, they can contribute to the service of the Lord. And in this way, it is a purifying process, and gradually they will get rid of these so-called limitations, and in the process, they will be purified, and the movement will also be will also advance. And the more and more the movement advances, the number of good people will increase, and in this way they will be able to control the rest of the people. And as I had told, this is because their levels are also different. And in fact, in one of the, it comes to my mind about a specific example. One, our Guru Maharaj was talking, Guru Maharaj was telling, one of the disciples of Prabhupada once told him that he asked him, Prabhupada, that we are all Brahman, we are all Vaishnavas. Prabhupada said, yes, you are a Vaishnava. Then, because he was an initiated disciple at the time, then he was reading about the demoniac and the godly qualities, in Bhagavad Gita. I think it is chapter 16, chapter 14. So he 16, he was telling that these and the Dambho, the Darpo, all these things were, when he read, he was a bit perturbed. He approached Prabhupada. He told that, Prabhupada, but you have told I am a Vaishnava, but I have all these qualities. I mean, what is the demoniac quality I'm still having? Then Prabhupada told, yes, you are a Vaishnava, but there are different classes. Just as a person who starts in the primary stage of his life, in primary class, he is studying mathematics, but it is not as good as, but there are also people who are studying mathematics at the higher secondary class or the graduate class and the postgraduate class, postgraduate and thesis, doctorate class. So these are the different stages. We should always remember that just as we become Vaishnava or Bhakta, it doesn't mean we have been absolved we have acquired all the good qualities. We are in the process of getting it. It is a slow process, and gradually we will be elevated to that by the movement itself. If we remain, if we stick to the rules that Prabhupada and other Vaishnavas prescribed for us in the Shastra, if we follow them, we'll elevate ourselves. But in the meantime, this difference will remain. Mataji. Is it?
Yes, thank you very much, Prabhu. That clarifies. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Just a click of mind, I just remember one example. As you see that we are just muddy water. We are just muddy water put in a pot. So once the filtration starts, this is the filtration process. Once the filtration goes in, slowly and slowly the mud will get away and the clean water will come up. So we have to wait till the mud goes away. So the mud is nothing but all these anarthas.
Anarthas,
so, yeah. Very good explanation, Prabhuji. Yeah, this is what we are doing. We are in the filtration stage. So we need to wait till we get the right filtration, and automatically the water will be clean one day. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandot Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandot Pranam. Thank you.
Thank you so much for such a nice class and the various references to the shlokas and the qualities of the great kings. And especially nicely you clarified that, like, why still we are work in progress. So that's why that still the we are very nicely you explained that. Prabhu, also in the purport, we notice that Prabhupada he makes an interesting point. He's saying it doesn't matter what is the system of government, whether it is monarchy or democracy or whatever is the system of government, it doesn't matter. That's what he seems to be making. And so as long as, like, the ruler, he takes the qualities of King Prithu, it doesn't matter what is the type of government. So that's what I just want to understand in the context of the democracy. Obviously, we cannot have all that monarchy and all that nowadays. So I just wanted to understand, like, how we can adopt this in the current government, whatever system of.
Prabhuji, thank you very much for this question. As you know, I mean, in the different stages of life, Prabhupada has also told, because the the Varnashrama system was introduced by the Lord himself. So it is the best system, and particularly when the king is spiritual. I mean, the king is aware of his responsibilities as the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he deals accordingly. But unfortunately, the present moment, the people are not only godless, not only the general mass of people are not interested about God, and so is the head of the state as well, and they have introduced a system called so-called secular state, and this secularism is not dealing with a religious principle at all. But without a religion, as you know, it is only an animal life. But what Prabhupada wanted to stress on this point is that we have to increase the Krishna conscious movement to such an extent that one day it's an indirect process. One day, when the people becomes aware of this Krishna consciousness so much that the king will be influenced by that, and that day the things will take the right turn, and we have to wait for them till that time. And our duty is, our responsibility is to increase the movement to its greater height, so that the king is influenced. Instead, at what is prescribed in the Shastra is that the king will influence. We have to take the other way around. And so we should not bother what is the form of government at the moment. We should increase our movement and preach to the more people.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Prabhuji, can I add something to it?
Yes, Prabhu.
That recently we saw a video from that is shared in our group, and that the government of Italy, they already started this process. They have invited Hare Krishna group to start their assembly with the Hare Krishna movement, Hare Krishna. So if you want to see, it is already shared in our group. People can see how the movement is getting into it. So it is a matter of time. It is already started. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned, that in one day this will happen. So it is started. The beginning is started in the country Italy, where people are so much westernized, but the changes is coming. We need to wait. As you mentioned, the time has to be ripened. Then only you can see the effect. So this will happen, but we need to wait till it gets fully ripened, and then people will understand the impact of Hare Krishna movement. If you look at the video, it's so enchanting. You really feel proud of it. Yeah, that's to share from myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, anybody else, or else we can conclude this session now? So I'm concluding it. Vancha
Kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha
Tanam Pavonebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda ki Jai. His Grace Abhay Charan ki Jai.
Prabhupada ki
Jai. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.